They said immigration was complicated, but what if it's not? What if the system wasn't broken? It was interrupted on purpose. They built safe zones. They turned courtrooms into shields, and then they dared ICE not to show up. But now the gloves are off. The curtain is pulled back. And you're about to see what justice looked like when it's unchained. This isn't about politics anymore. It's about the people who they thought could outweigh America. They can't.
Dad, Papi is fine. Daddy's fine.
What happens to the children when a parent gets taken by ICE?
Go explain.
No!
For the parent, it could be months inside of a detention center or being deported back to their home country. And for the children, uncertainty, wondering if their parents will ever come home.
What's wrong, Papi?
Across Massachusetts, thousands of immigrants, many with no criminal record, have been detained by immigration authorities. In May alone, federal immigration officials arrested more than 1,400 people in Massachusetts, more than any other month on record. A considerable number of those arrested are parents. Left behind are their children, some too young to understand what has happened. We recently followed two families with children whose parents were taken by ICE. The absence of a parent leads to severe financial stress and a mental toll that can be devastating for the children. With President Trump's recently signed budget bill that includes more spending on immigration enforcement, experts say this could lead to more ICE arrests, leaving more children without their parents. To read our full story, head to bostonglobe.com.
Let's start with the imagery they want to use to guilt you. You know, a crying child, no dad, no answers. But nobody wants to ask the real questions. Who put that child in this position? Whose fault is that? ICE didn't cross the border. ICE didn't lie about their status. ICE showed up after the choices were made. It's ridiculous. I'm telling y'all, every time they try to do their job, suddenly they're the villains. Exhibit A.
And we need to make sure that people in the United States and here in Michigan have their rights respected. Immigration and customs enforcement, they should have that same level of respect for our rights. They should have that same level of responsibility to the residents of the United States and of Michigan. When those accountability measures, such as being unmasked, are undermined and disregarded, trust is broken with our communities, and it makes people scared. And I think that ICE should follow the same responsibilities and respect for our rights that local law enforcement does. You know, they have been refusing to show, ICE agents have been refusing to show their faces or identify that themselves. And I think at some level, it is in part because they are ashamed and they know this is deeply un-American. I don't know if you've heard of the Geheimstaatspolizei. They are sometimes called the Gestapo. That is what is happening here with these masked agents. And it is wrong, it's un-American, and when we said never again to that, we meant never again.
I mean, they're getting attacked for doing their job, literally. And why? Because the left branded them as Nazis. That's why. It's not just offensive, it's intentional sabotage. You don't dehumanize federal agents by accident. You do it so when they're targeted, no one defends them. But here's the twist. People are starting to defend them. People in power.
For McClellan to attend a meeting over the concerns. McClellan calling the actions of ICE agents un-American and calling for due process and transparency.
But what we are seeing is racial profiling, where if you are brown, if you speak Spanish or another language, and you don't look like you came off of the boat, the Mayflower, you are fair game.
McClellan penning a letter demanding answers from the Department of Homeland Security. In that letter, she asks how many people detained are still in DHS custody, where have they been moved, and is DHS taking steps to allow lawyers to come in? State Republicans have largely welcomed the attention from ICE and some 2,500 arrests so far. That includes Governor Glenn Youngkin, who praised their efforts earlier this month.
If you're going to break the law and you're here illegally, you're going to be detained and you're going to be arrested. And by the way, that's common sense, right? They're not going to schools and they're not going to churches.
McClellan's office also telling me they've not received a response from DHS to that letter, now sent almost 2 weeks ago. On Your Side in Richmond, I'm Henry Graff, 12 On Your Side.
Now, McClellan calls ICE agents un-American while they're literally enforcing American law. Meanwhile, Governor Youngkin hits them with raw facts. They were arrested. They were illegal. End of story. That's why I'm on X and Rumble too now, y'all. Make sure y'all hit me on those platforms because some truth don't survive the YouTube algorithm. Follow Kingdom React, stay unfiltered. But if you thought that was aggressive, watch what happens when ICE doesn't wait.
Just so you know, he has a case reset for 30 days from now.
That's
okay. But he has to be here in 30 days.
Okay. Then you just grab him down here, please.
Ellos dicen que vaya con él.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah, just so you guys know, like they have 30 days. They have to get back to the court. Get 30 days.
No.
Yep. He got caught in 30 days, y'all. Caught in 30 days. Let him go. He has another hearing. I said, nah. This is the moment the game flipped. They're done playing the court delay circus. You can't schedule your way out of consequences. I'm sorry. It's just what it is. And, you know, when common sense decides to re-enter the chat, the radicals, you know, they lose their mind.
Unpopular opinion, but if we took all MAGA men from ages 18 to 50 and replaced them with immigrants, violence against women and children would decrease to almost 0%. Unpopular opinion, but if we took all
replace MAGA men with immigrants to reduce violence, that's not logic. That's mental illness wrapped in activism. They hate the idea of strong Americans enforcing boundaries. They don't want less violence. They want less resistance. But guess who's resisting harder than ever? Legal immigrants who get it.
Good day, folks. You know what pisses me off the most is that the people that came to this country and want a good life here and want to become an American, and yet they're out there waving their fucking flag, protesting this and that, all that shit. If you are legal, what the fuck do you have to worry about? Unless you do some dumb shit and you worry about getting deported. Okay? People like me came here legally through the process. We're Americans. Okay? We love this country. We love the flag, the American flag, the America. The red, white, and blue. Okay? We don't care about our flag. Because we left that shit behind. Okay? You dumb son bitch, do some dumb shit with your flags. You might well take that flag and shove it up your ass and go back where you come from. Motherfucker. If I see you on the road waving your flag, I will call ICE because I get $750 each, bitch.
This guy said he's going full troll mode on him, man. This man is a legal immigrant, Asian, proud, fierce. And he says if you're here legally, he'll turn you in. Patriotism. Not because he hates you, but because he respects the country that gave him a future. And if you still don't understand that ICE isn't the enemy, let me switch to the next screen. Watch how they're helping people walk out on their own.
If you're an illegal alien living in the United States, this runway is your future. Because one way or another, you're getting on a plane home. But how you get there is up to you. I'm Kristi Noem, the United States Secretary of Homeland Security. You can make it easy, like others who've made the right choice, by downloading the CBP Home app and safely self-deporting. They received financial assistance up to $1,000, a free flight home, and they have the chance to come back to America legally. Or your trip home can be hard. We will find you. You will be fined thousands of dollars, detained, and forcefully removed from our country. Leave legally because you won't miss this flight. And it's your last chance to get on board the right way. Under President Trump's strong leadership, we follow the law, and our border is secure.
Now, that wasn't a raid. It's a reset button for illegals now. Free flight, $1,000, and the shot to come back legal? Hey, man, that's dignity. That's order. That's how a nation works. If you ask me, that's more than gracious, more than mercy. But liberals don't want that. Because control ruins the chaos they profit from. That's why. And why they cry fascism and all this other stuff, ICE is doing what the system has always allowed.
This is one of the many hallways in lower Manhattan where masked immigration agents have been apprehending people outside of their routine immigration court check-ins. It's been happening almost every single day for the better part of the last 2 months, and we came here to witness it for ourselves.
As of mid-June, ICE was detaining nearly 60,000 people. That's almost 45% above the capacity that was funded by Congress. And according to recent reporting from the New York outlet The City, inside this building, 26 Federal Plaza, apprehensions and hours spent in detention skyrocketed earlier this summer. An average of 89 people were detained inside 26 Federal Plaza each night in June, more in May and June alone than the first 4 months of the year combined. In just 5 hours inside 26 Federal Plaza, I saw armed and masked federal agents apprehending 5 different migrants who had appeared for their immigration hearings. This isn't a normal or long-standing practice. It is a new directive by the Trump administration playing out on several floors of this building.
There are multiple floors inside this building, 26 Federal Plaza, where there are immigration courts, and that's where hearings are happening, and then those masked federal agents are detaining migrants who are coming out of their regularly scheduled immigration check-ins, some who are getting court dates to come back in the future, yet they're being detained, and then they're being held on the 10th floor of this building in a makeshift detention center where advocates and lawyers are saying people are being held longer than they're supposed to and in inhumane conditions.
Access to that 10th floor isn't permitted, but in 2 videos obtained by the organization, the New York Immigration Coalition, you can apparently see one of the holding rooms on that floor where around 24 men are being held. Some are sitting on benches, some with those aluminum emergency blankets. DHS tells us that, quote, 26 Federal Plaza is not a detention center. It's a federal building with an ICE law enforcement office inside of it. And that, quote, any claim there's overcrowding or subprime conditions is categorically false.
Wait.
But a surge of immigration courthouse arrests and detentions across the country are why several organizations are suing the administration, alleging that these practices are violating the due process rights of the people in its custody. Lawyers and advocates say this is all part of Stephen Miller's grand plan of arresting 3,000 undocumented people a day. But like what we've all been seeing playing out on the streets of Los Angeles, these arrests affect far more than the worst of the worst criminals the administration had said they were going to go after in this mass deportation campaign. Also in May and June, almost 70% of those arrested at 26 Federal Plaza hadn't been convicted of any crime. And like LA, the collateral effect of these raids touches people not detained, including the many families that I saw roaming the hallways. Little children at their parents' hearings walking around with these agents towering over them, uncertain of what the future's going to bring, and if their family could be separated in those hallways next.
You know, when MSNBS finally admits raids are real, that's how you know it's serious. This isn't just ICE making noise, it's strategy. 60,000 detained, 89 per night. Hey, thank you, ICE, for doing, salute. They're inside courthouses now. No more hideouts, no more games. And now Washington, D.C. is falling in line, too.
Hi, everyone. I'm Janine Pirro, the U.S. Attorney in D.C., and we are prioritizing the president's executive order to make D.C. safe and beautiful. And as part of that initiative, what my office has done in recent weeks is we are now trying to identify those illegals who are currently burrowed in our criminal justice system, who've identified themselves either as citizens or individuals with actual legal status who do not have status or are illegal. Previously, there was no questioning them, and there was certainly no verification of that. Now I've got my chief criminal investigator, Matt Fox Moles, who has an enforcement removal officer embedded with his investigators, working with ICE to identify those individuals already in the system that we can then find out from ICE what their status is. Previously, no one even asked. They would just literally go through the system and either be convicted and possibly go to jail or be found not guilty and be released. But the D.C. City Council has worked very hard to make sure that these individuals avoid any contact with ICE, almost to the point where the law requires, upon a request by a defense attorney, that an illegal be removed to the Department of Corrections when there may be no actual case, to kind of throw the feds off, as opposed to simply releasing them from the courthouse right then and there. We're on top of this. We're making sure now that not just in the misdemeanor cases, but in the federal docket, the Superior Court docket, we are identifying the illegals that are in the system to make sure that D.C. is safe, that we know who is here and who is entitled to be here. So as we cut through the red tape, and as we break down some of those federal bureaucratic walls and fight the sanctuary city status, we are making D.C. safe again.
Janine Pirro is now U.S. Attorney in D.C., and she's hunting down every illegal in the court system, federal or local. This isn't a crackdown, it's a correction, a return to sanity, and the left can't stop it, which is why they're going full mask off. They're not just mad. They're exposing what they've always thought.
No one hates America more than a liberal Democrat. I mean, if you're white and you love your country, you're a racist. If you black and you love your country, you're an Uncle Tom. I mean, there's no satisfying this group of people. Just face it. Democrats have fought against everything that was pro-American in the last several years. Never mind what they've been doing since Trump took office. But time and time again, they have shown that foreigners and other interests are much more important than American people. And you've made it perfectly clear. I mean, if the Trump administration, or the last 6 months of the Trump administration, hasn't shown you anything, it has shown everybody that Democrats hate America. But they hate Donald Trump more. So in hating Donald Trump, they hate America, because I feel like they want to retaliate against the people who helped put him in office.
Yep.
So in turn, they're going to make everybody suffer. So this is going to be a very interesting 4 years, because now they have these judges that try to stop and block everything that this man tries to push. You guys are screaming about the Epstein files. Who's stopping that? Federal judges that were appointed by Barack Obama. Make it make sense. Yet Trump is getting the blame for it. How, Sway?
How, Sway? I mean, he said it, and he's right. White and patriotic equals you're racist, and black and patriotic equals you're a traitor. Why? Because loving your country makes you harder to control. And nothing else drives a tyrant crazier than people who won't bend. I mean, it's just what it is. They keep trying to convince us that ICE is somehow over. We're told that courthouses are safe zones, but we're seeing that not be the case. not be the case. You see what I did there? Yeah, we were told the system is broken, but it wasn't. It was just blocked. Now the ice is moving and rolling again. The real fear is setting in. And if you support local law officials and law and order all together, you're called racist. They call you extreme. Yeah. And guess what? We don't need their permission to protect this country. Now, comment Team Think if you're standing on business and join the Team Think 4X Club inspired by my guy Doug in Exile, also from Terry Lynn and, so many other people in the past not so many other people in the past. I'm sorry, I'm going off the deep end here, but I can't remember his name at this point. It's really getting on my nerves. But they suggested this. But speaking of names, I got to do my shout outs. Y'all already know how this go. Let's do some shout outs. You know what I mean? Elizabeth Plump 6288. That's an interesting name you got there. Jeff Smith 3698. William Straw, as you say, Strawhand 2949. Rebecca Gallant and Kia 2731. Thank y'all so much for helping keep this channel afloat. Y'all be safe. Go check on somebody today. You can quite literally be saving their life. Peace.